But I had Grant Cardone in here, and he said, it's something I repeat to myself every day, especially when I was running for mayor and when I was broadcasting during COVID, which is this: if people don't hate you, people don't know you. That's what Grant Cardone says, and which basically means that if you want to do important things where people are going to know you and follow you and buy your books and come to your incredible events, then by definition you're going to have haters as well, because you're saying something that's worthwhile for some. Great art divides, and you're going to have haters. So with Grant, he's like, I want to get more haters. Now, Tate might have said I want to get more haters, but he also became the most famous person in the world, as he self-describes, which according to Google he was for a while. So, the other thing that Grant told me is he said, hate and love are actually the same thing. They just got kind of perturbed on the way that it was coming to you. So the person that hates you, some way loves you. Maybe they respect you because they're going out of their way to give you this feedback. They're not indifferent to you. And maybe they don't know how to show it to you. Maybe they're going through some difficult times, but there's an emotional connection with you that just gets kind of perturbed in the transmission. Maybe they love you so much that they don't want you to let them down. And maybe that's why they're hating on you. And it's just something I try to think about sometimes. And I think he's got a point there. It is emotion. They're very, very similar. And so I'd say to everybody processing this, and I've had lots of students in my academy that I encourage to put videos online, and they always ask me questions about this. What do you do with the feedback? Is it 10 comments of the same and then maybe they have a point? Is it someone you trust and respect? Is it one of your paid subscribers and then you listen? I try not to ever listen. But sometimes you will get the feedback. Is it your friends and family that tell you that? But there's a point, like you said, where it becomes feedback, and then sometimes where it's just hate, and it's trying to discern the two.
I think it was maybe Seneca who says, to avoid criticism, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. And I completely agree with that point. And also, certain levels of success rub people the wrong way. Like you say, there is actually, I agree with him in this, there is this fine line. And sometimes, as you experience success, some people lose the ability to be happy for you. And I do believe that is their way of dealing with something that's going on in their lives. And I joke around with some negative YouTube comments. And if someone says something, I go, just because you're unhappy, don't try and drag me down. And it's an interesting one, but people need to see success and be happy with success. Because if I look at success with the right lens, that should motivate me. And I think that this should be something that all people look at. If someone that is feeling hatred towards someone doing something, is there any way you could look at that and motivate yourself to do better? Anyone in the world. But it is one of those things where it was fascinating, and any digital marketer in any field should not have supported him and gone, oh, this man, what he's saying is amazing, but at least gone, he's doing something here that's not been done before. And it doesn't even have to be admiration, it can just be fascination.
And what was the Andrew Tate phenomenon? What do you think happened there? Why did he get so big so fast?
I think he managed to polarize people on so many levels. And he, I think, utilized the left to build his profile the most, which was very interesting. He in a bid almost tried to get cancelled on the way up. And I said to people, I actually made a video about this where I said, if you really want him to go away, stop talking about him. But they couldn't stop. But I actually said before recently, I believe there's potentially an intelligent person back there, state chess champion when he was younger. Pretty sure he's from like a military family. If it was a persona, I think he should have just broke from it at some point and not kept it going. And I think that in my earlier years, I was more rude, more obtuse, more facetious, and more risk-taking. But then as you kind of get to a point that you get your head above the water and you can breathe, it's at that point that I need to actually start being myself more and not try and come on here as Lad Bible James and be like, oh yeah, fucking put all of it. There has to be a point where you actually get there and people can see that for the real you. And I'm sure that we've all had to imitate someone that isn't us. And I still am guilty to it now on social media, but there has to come a point where you just have to be real. And I think that maybe that was missed. And I think to anyone out there, I think that you're always better off. It can be very, very exhausting pretending to be someone else, even if it does make you successful.
Yeah, I don't know if he was pretending to be someone else or if someone created something else by taking small pieces of him, which happens with any media personality.
Sam Harris recently got it where someone took a small snippet out of one of his podcasts to the point that when people do that, you would usually ignore it. But he had to come out and be like, hey guys, by the way, this is taken from a long format discussion,
Right.
and it completely misconstrued it. But by the time you put that, social media now, the way the algorithms work of serving you on something you're interested in, not on someone you follow, and the ability to take these snippets and put them out there, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, well, Joe Rogan went through that whole piece as well with that, little amalgamation of him with his quote-unquote racist comments. But look, I mean, what happens with everybody is we get media bias. I mean, I've had guests that are about to sit in the chair before where I'll read about him and learn about him, and I think, okay, this is just some two-dimensional rock star or some person that, had it easy. And then once I spend 2 hours in the chair, I'm like, well, this is a fascinating human that had to go through a lot of struggle to be the person they're going to be. I'm always surprised. And I think with Tate, people took a lot of things out of context and created videos. He allowed that to happen or encouraged that to happen and became this thing. Yeah, he probably engineered that, and it was probably brilliant. I think there actually is a real guy behind all of that who's quite nuanced and fascinating and quite congruent with everything he's saying. One thing I think it showed us is that there's a real need and desire for men hearing, quote unquote, maybe a truth that they haven't heard from a long time. Maybe because of the cancel culture and everyone worried about all the things that we put on social media and what you can and can't say. And there was someone, a bit like Dan Pena, I don't know if you're that guy too, that maybe gives it to you straight in a world where everyone else is worried about being canceled or judged or whatever. And the truth, as fascinating as it is, has become a commodity as rare as, Bitcoin these days. It's something that it's so hard to find when you can find someone that will give it to you that's not worried about the ramifications. I don't know, I think a lot of young men said, wow, there's something here that I don't hear anywhere else, and I want to learn more about this. And that's what I think also happened. And that's why Pena does so well, because Pena, when he dies, they won't make him like him anymore. He's an old school guy from an old school place who doesn't care if you buy his fucking book. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care if you cancel him. He went to a university here recently and all the kids protested him and stood on the desk and the girls took their clothes off and he doesn't care. He just goes to the next and goes to the next. But he also will give you something straight. Now, can he be a little crass sometimes? Can he, maybe say the wrong thing? Okay. But also, he gives it to you straight. And I think people crave that in a world of today where everything is manufactured and set to be super pretty. And I think that's one of the reasons that it was so viral.
I had a rugby coach 10 years ago who dropped me for an important match. So I go up to him and I say, hey, why have I been dropped? And he said, you played like shit at the weekend. He goes, I can't believe you missed so many tackles with your parents watching. And that hurt. And I was like, oh. And people think that's a really bad thing that he did. But because of that, I turned up to training on Tuesday early. I wasn't fucking around with the other lads in the gym. I went out, I trained, I didn't miss tackles, I hit my rucks, I listened to the coaches, I wasn't disruptive. And I realized that the feedback he gave me, although it hurt, I could use that pain to get something more out of myself. And I think back that the biggest danger that could have happened on this Tuesday night in Berkshire where I was growing up is for him to lie to me to protect my feelings. If he said, Smithy mate, it's just player rotation, don't worry about it, I would not have turned up the person I needed to be. Now, not everyone likes criticism in that form, but for me, that's the best way I want to hear it. So when I do put my stuff out and content out in a way that is like that, I'm not talking to the people that need to be sugarcoated. I'm talking to the people like myself. And if that's 1% of the population, I have millions of people that I can help with that message. And what I don't like is that people see me doing that and they misconstrue me as being rude or arrogant or that I'm that I lack empathy or sensitivity, when really I'm just talking to people who are like me. And that's quite an interesting one where we almost live in an echo chamber now where they're like, you can't swear to people. You can't use that. Did he just use the word fat? And it makes the social media landscape a difficult place to navigate.
Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.